You are the type of owner who genuinely tries to understand your dog. You notice the small things, the way they follow you from room to room, the way their eyes track your every move. So when you close the bathroom door and hear that desperate scratching on the other side, you do not brush it off. You feel it, and you've probably wondered why something so ordinary feels catastrophic to them. That question has a real answer. Most people assume their dog's bathroom door panic is about separation anxiety in some vague, general sense. But what's actually happening is far more specific, far more primal, and far more fascinating than that. Your dog isn't just sad that you left. Their brain is firing a survival alarm that dates back thousands of years, and the bathroom door, of all things, is uniquely designed to trigger it. Understanding exactly why changes everything about how you see your dog's behavior. Let us start at the beginning. Not the beginning of your dog's life, but the beginning of the species itself. Dogs evolved from pack animals. That's something you've probably heard before, but here's what that phrase actually means at a neurological level. In a pack, survival isn't a solo project. It's a collective one. Every member of the group serves a function: hunting, guarding, warming, alerting. And the mechanism that keeps a pack cohesive isn't just loyalty or affection in some romantic sense. It's constant sensory contact. Smell, sound, touch, and above all else, sight. Scientists call this the contact comfort bond. It's the biological baseline that tells a social animal whether they are safe or at risk. When your dog can see you, smell you, or hear you moving around the house, their nervous system is receiving a continuous signal that says pack is intact, territory is stable, threat level is low. It's not a conscious thought. It's deeper than thought. It's a physiological state of regulation. Now here's where it gets interesting. Researchers studying canine stress responses have found that visual contact is the single most powerful anchor in that sensory chain. More than smell in many contexts, more than sound, sight is the primary mechanism through which your dog confirms your presence in real time. There's a reason your dog can be calm in another room as long as they can see the hallway you are standing in. They're not watching you with idle curiosity. They're conducting a continuous safety audit. The moment that visual line breaks, their nervous system starts asking a question it evolved to treat with urgency: where did the pack go? This is what researchers sometimes call the visual tether. It's not a metaphor. It's a functional description of how your dog's brain maintains emotional regulation. And it explains something that most owners find confusing: why your dog can handle you leaving the house better than they handle you disappearing behind a door. When you leave the house, there's usually a ritual. You put on shoes, pick up keys, open the front door, maybe say goodbye. Your dog doesn't love that you are leaving, but their brain receives a coherent sequence of events with familiar cues. They've learned over repetition that this sequence ends with you coming back. There's narrative structure their nervous system can file away. The bathroom door is different, and this is the part most people miss entirely. The bathroom is the only room in a typical home that creates what behavioral scientists describe as a total sensory blackout. Think about every other room in your house. The living room, the kitchen, the bedroom, even a closed office door. Sound leaks through. Light passes under the gap. Your scent circulates freely through shared air. Your dog can hear the keyboard, the television, the refrigerator opening. Their sensory system is still receiving data. The visual tether breaks, but the other anchors hold. The bathroom is architecturally different. The door seals at the bottom. In many homes, the ventilation is internal. You turn on a fan, run water, and within seconds, the ambient noise that normally carries your presence through the house is masked entirely. Your scent, which your dog tracks with a nose 40 times more sensitive than yours, is drowned by cleaning products, running water, and sealed air. The temperature gradient that might carry trace particles of your warmth through a gap disappears behind a draft sealing door frame. In the span of 3 seconds, every sensory channel your dog uses to locate you goes dark simultaneously. That's not separation. That's a blackout. And your dog's nervous system doesn't have a category for blackout. It has a category for predation. It has a category for pack dissolution. Both of those categories trigger the same alarm: find, alert, or escalate. This is why the scratching starts. This is why the whining has that particular pitch, higher and more urgent than regular attention-seeking behavior. Your dog isn't throwing a tantrum. They're executing a survival protocol their brain inherited from ancestors who lived in environments where a pack member going suddenly, completely silent, often meant something had gone very wrong. Let us slow down on that latch click for a moment, because it deserves its own analysis. Dogs are extraordinary pattern recognition machines. Their brains are wired to identify sequences and assign meaning to individual components within those sequences. The sound of a leash being picked up triggers excitement not because the leash itself means anything, but because the brain has learned that leash equals walk, and the body starts preparing before the sequence is even complete. The same mechanism operates in reverse for threat detection. The click of a door latch is a distinctive, sharp, high-frequency sound. It's unlike the soft thud of a door swinging shut without latching. And your dog's brain, after weeks or months of experience, has cataloged exactly what happens after that click. Visual access ends. Sensory data drops. The pack member becomes unlocatable. So the click doesn't just signal a closed door. It signals the onset of a blackout. It becomes a predictive cue for a stress state. Before the door is even fully closed, before the visual line breaks, before the fan turns on, your dog's cortisol is already rising. Their pupils are dilating. Their ears are moving forward and up. They're not reacting to the closed door. They're reacting to the sound that their experience tells them precedes it. This is a conditioned stress response. And once it is established, it is remarkably self-reinforcing. Here's the thing about stress responses that most people do not fully appreciate: they do not need to be confirmed every time to stay active. In behavioral science, this is called intermittent reinforcement of a fear pattern. Your dog experiences the blackout repeatedly. Sometimes you emerge quickly, sometimes you take longer. The unpredictability of the duration is actually more stressful than consistent exposure would be. The brain cannot adapt to a timeline it cannot predict. So instead of habituating, the response intensifies over time. The scratching gets more urgent. The whining starts earlier in the sequence, sometimes at the sound of your footsteps heading toward the bathroom, before the door even closes. And this is the moment where most owners make the instinct that feels kind but actually deepens the problem. You hear the distress. You feel guilty. So you talk through the door, or you open it sooner than you intended, or you call out reassurances. All of that is entirely human and completely understandable. But from your dog's perspective, your voice through a closed door is not a comfort signal. It's an incomplete signal. They hear you, but they cannot complete the visual confirmation that their nervous system requires. A voice without a body is not resolution. In some cases, it actually escalates arousal, because now they know you are close but still inaccessible, and the gap between nearly there and there becomes its own form of tension. Opening the door early does something different but equally counterproductive. It teaches the brain that the scratching protocol works, that executing the distress behavior resolves the blackout. Now the behavior isn't just a stress response, it's a strategy. So what does all of this actually tell us about the bond itself? This is where the story shifts from problem to something much more profound. The reason your dog experiences a bathroom door as a crisis is not because something is broken in them. It's because something is deeply, irreversibly intact. The contact comfort bond that makes a sensory blackout so alarming is the same bond that makes them your shadow on hard days. That makes them lay their head on your feet when you are sitting on the couch. That makes them notice, sometimes before you consciously notice yourself, that your breathing has changed or your posture has shifted. Your dog is not anxious because they are damaged. They are anxious because they are attached. And attachment at the neurological level is not a behavior you can train away or select against without also dismantling the thing that makes dogs remarkable companions in the first place. Evolution doesn't hand out emotions cheaply. Every response that costs energy and creates vulnerability exists because it served survival. The contact comfort bond cost your dog's ancestors something, and it paid off, generation after generation, because the animals who stayed tethered to their pack survived at higher rates than the ones who didn't. What you are seeing on the other side of that bathroom door is the echo of that ancient accounting. A body that learned, over thousands of years, that closeness equals life. Knowing this doesn't mean you have to live with the scratching. It means you understand what you are working with. You're not trying to convince your dog that closed doors are harmless. You're trying to give their nervous system enough experience and enough alternative information to reduce the intensity of the alarm. The most effective approaches work by interrupting the conditioned sequence before the stress state activates. Remember the latch click as a predictive cue. You can use the same mechanism in reverse. Pair the sound of the latch with something that carries genuine positive weight for your dog, a specific treat, a particular toy, a cue word that has been loaded with reward history. Over time, with enough repetition, the click stops predicting the onset of blackout and starts predicting something the nervous system files under good. The sequence doesn't change. The meaning assigned to the trigger does. You can also work on shortening the blackout itself, not by opening the door early, but by making your reemergence more predictable. A consistent verbal cue before you close the door, followed by a consistent verbal cue before you open it, gives the brain a timeline it can work with. Predictability is the antidote to the kind of stress that feeds on uncertainty. You're not reassuring your dog with those cues. You're providing structural information that their nervous system can use to calculate an expected endpoint. And then there's the broader work of building what researchers call buffered independence. This isn't about forcing your dog to be alone or teaching them that neediness is wrong. It's about gradually expanding the range at which they can maintain calm, by giving them enough experience of the visual tether breaking and reliably being restored that their nervous system builds a new category. Not blackout, but temporary pause. The distinction sounds subtle. In your dog's brain, it is enormous. The contact comfort bond is not something you sever. You do not want to, but you can expand its flexibility. A dog with a flexible bond can tolerate a closed door because experience has taught them that the sensory blackout is finite and the pack, meaning you, always reconstitutes. That's not a diminished bond. It's a more sophisticated one. This also asks something of you as an owner, and it is worth naming directly. Your own response to your dog's distress matters more than most training protocols acknowledge. If you feel guilty every time you close that door, if you hurry, if your own nervous system is slightly elevated by the sound of the scratching, your dog is reading that too. They track your cortisol responses. They notice your micro-expressions and postural shifts with a level of precision that most humans aren't capable of. If the bathroom door carries emotional weight for you, it carries it for them by transmission. Approaching the whole sequence with genuine, settled calm, not performed calm, but the kind that comes from understanding what's actually happening and why, changes the energetic signature of the interaction. Your dog's nervous system is always taking cues from yours. When you stop treating the bathroom door as a source of guilt or conflict and start treating it as a low-stakes, predictable event, you are already doing a significant portion of the work. That's the full arc of the Velcro effect. It starts with evolution, with a body built for constant contact because constant contact meant survival. It runs through neuroscience, through the visual tether and the sensory blackout and the conditioned alarm response. It passes through architecture, of all things, because the bathroom door is a uniquely effective trigger for reasons that have nothing to do with your dog and everything to do with how that room is built. And it ends here, with the understanding that the behavior you've been frustrated by is, at its root, an expression of something you actually want. Your dog is attached to you, fully, neurologically, evolutionarily attached. The panic behind the door is the cost of that attachment, and the cost is real, but so is everything it comes with. If this changed how you see your dog's behavior, take that understanding into your next walk, your next quiet evening, your next bathroom break with an audience outside the door. The more clearly you see what's actually happening inside your dog, the more effectively you can help them. And that work, the patient, informed kind, is what deepens a bond that's already remarkable. Start small. Stay consistent. Your dog is already trying. Thanks for watching. If you loved this video, scan the QR code on the screen right now to subscribe and join the Pawsome Life family. Give your dog a belly rub for us, and we will see you in the next video.